Hello and welcome. My name is Brian Chu. I'm a Microsoft technical trainer. I'm here to walk you through the AZ-800 Administering Windows Server Hybrid Core Infrastructure course. Let's get started. This session is all about practical Windows Server administration. We will cover secure administration practices, explore the tools available for managing Windows Server, and walk through post-installation configuration. You'll also learn about just enough administration, a powerful way to limit privileges and reduce risk. By the end, you'll be ready to manage Windows Server environments confidently and securely, both on-prem and in hybrid scenarios. Let's start with secure administration. Security is at the heart of every IT operation, and the Windows Server provides a range of features to help you protect your environment. The principle of least privilege is fundamental to security. It means giving users service accounts and processes only the permissions they need to do their job, nothing more. By applying least privilege, you reduce the risk of accidental or malicious changes. This approach helps you create a safer, more manageable environment. Let's talk about security principles. These are the users and groups that have administrative rights in your environment. Key groups include enterprise admins. Enterprise admins can make changes across the entire Active Directory forest. Domain admins have admin rights on all domain-joined computers. Schema admins can modify the ADDS schema, which is rare but powerful privilege. And administrators have unrestricted access to the domain or computer. Understanding who belongs to these groups is critical for maintaining security. Always review group membership and limit them to only those who truly need elevated access. To manage group memberships, use the restricted group feature in Group Policy. This lets you control who belongs to sensitive groups across all computers in your domain. This approach helps prevent privilege creep and ensures that the only authorized users have admin rights. The process involves creating and linking a group policy object, GPO, to your domain, editing the GPO to specify which users or groups should be members of each administrative group, applying the policy to enforce consistent group membership. After adjusting group memberships, it's important to review what rights users and groups actually have. Use the local security policy console to check user rights assignments. User Account Control, UAC for short, is a secure feature that helps prevent unauthorized changes to your system. UAC prompts users for confirmation or credentials when they try to perform tasks that require admin rights. You can control UAC behavior using Group Policy. Delegation allows you to grant specific administrative rights to users or groups without giving them full control. Use the delegation of control wizard in Active Directory users and computers to assign granular permissions, such as resetting user passwords, managing group memberships. A Privileged Access Workstation, PAW, is a dedicated computer used only for sensitive administrative tasks, such as managing identity systems or cloud services. PAWs should never be used for web browsing, email, or everyday applications. They should have strict application controls and hardware security features. Microsoft recommends using Windows 11 Enterprise for PAWs. By isolating admin tasks, PAWs help protect your environment from malware and credential theft. There are two main hardware profiles for PAWs: dedicated hardware, separated devices for admin and user tasks; simultaneous use, a single device running two operating systems for admin and user activities. Admins should have both a PAW and a regular workstation for day-to-day tasks. This separation reduces risk and ensures that sensitive operations are performed in a secure, controlled environment. Jump servers, or bastion hosts, are hardened servers used to access and manage devices in different security zones. They act as secure gateways for administrative connections, especially in environments where physical security is challenging. Jump servers typically don't store sensitive data themselves. By using jump servers, sometimes in a combination with PAWs, you can create logical security zones and tightly controlled access to critical systems. Azure Bastion is Microsoft's cloud-based jump server solution for RDP and SSH connectivity. When implementing jump servers, consider installing remote administration tools on the jump server. You should also require RDP connectivity for admin VMs. A typical setup involves an administrator authenticating with a smart card, connecting to their PAW, and then accessing the jump server to manage resources. This layered approach enhances security and accountability. Now, let's shift focus to the tools available for managing Windows Server. You'll learn about Windows Admin Center, Server Manager, PowerShell, and remote server administration tools. Understanding these tools will help you manage servers efficiently, whether you are working locally or remotely. Windows Admin Center is a modern web-based management tool for Windows Server. It consists of two main components: a gateway that manages servers using PowerShell Remote and WMI, a web server that provides a user-friendly interface. You can manage servers from anywhere, even over the internet, without external dependencies. Windows Admin Center complements existing tools and is a great choice for centralized management. Server Manager is a built-in tool that allows you to manage both your local server and up to 100 remote servers from a single dashboard. With Server Manager, you can quickly configure your local server, add roles and features, and group servers for easier management. The dashboard provides essential information about your servers, such as operating system version, processor, memory, and disk space. Server Manager is a great starting point for day-to-day administration and initial server setup. Remote Server Administration Tools, or RSAT, are a collection of tools that let you manage Windows Server roles and features from a Windows client. RSAT consoles were the primary graphical tools for Windows Server before Windows Admin Center, and they are still widely used for specific tasks. Some key RSAT tools include Active Directory Certificate Service Tools, Manage Certification Authorities and Templates, DHCP Server Tools, Administer DHCP servers and scopes, DNS Server Tools, Manage DNS zones and records, Shield VM Tools, work with Shield virtual machines. With Windows 10 and 11, you can enable RSAT features directly from the settings. No separate download required. Here are more tools you might use. RSAT gives you the flexibility to manage your server environment from your desktop, making it easier to handle large or distributed infrastructures. Windows PowerShell is a powerful scripting language and command line shell for automating server management. Commandlets are the building blocks of PowerShell commands using a verb-noun format, like get service or set AD user. You can filter, select, and export data using parameters and pipelines. PowerShell can also manage Active Directory, such as retrieving user info or updating properties for users in a specific OU. Learning PowerShell will help you automate repetitive tasks, enforce consistency, and manage servers at scale. PowerShell offers both a command line interface and the PowerShell Integrated Scripting Environment, ISE, which provides a graphical editor for writing and testing scripts. For PowerShell remoting, it supports one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-one remoting, allowing you to run commands on remote computers. PowerShell Direct lets you run commands inside a Hyper-V VM from the host, even if the network isn't configured. To use PowerShell for remote administration, ensure PowerShell is installed on your local computer and the Windows Remote Management VRM is enabled on remote servers. Use invoke command to run scripts on remote computers. For interactive sessions, use enter PS session and exit with exit PS session. You can run commands on multiple computers at once, making it easy to manage large environments. PowerShell remoting streamlines administration, reduces manual effort, and helps maintaining consistency across your servers. PowerShell remoting now supports SSH, enabling true cross-platform management between Windows, Linux, and macOS. SSH is built into Windows 10 version 1809 and higher, and is installed by default on Windows Server 2025. The second hop problem occurs when a remote session needs to access resource on the third server. Credential Security Support Provider allows credentials to be delegated for multiple hot scenarios, but has some limitations. Kerberos delegation offers 3 options. Choose the method that best fits your security and operation needs. Understanding and configuring delegation is crucial for advanced automation and multi-tier management scenario. After installing Windows Server, you need to configure several key settings: computer name, workgroup, network settings, and time zone. These steps ensure your server is properly identified, connected, and synchronized with your environment. Continue configuring your server by locale and language settings, roles and features, firewall settings, and activation. Completing these steps helps secure a server and prepares it for production workloads. You have several tools for post-installation configuration: Server Manager, Windows Admin Center, Answer Files, System Center Configuration Manager. Choose the tool that best fits your environment and workflow for efficiency, consistent server setup. Sconfig is a text-based tool for configuring server core and Windows Server desktop installations. Sconfig is especially useful for initial setup when there's no graphical interface available. Answer files are XML files that automate and customize the deployment of Windows Server. They are organized into components and packages. To use answer files, you'll first download the Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit, ADK, and perform a custom installation. The next step is to create a catalog file, which is essentially a blueprint of your Windows image. You'll then configure the answer file itself. In the Components node, you can specify settings like network configuration, DNS client settings, domain drawer information, and shell setup options. These settings allow you to automate everything from network setup to user experience automation. Once your answer file is ready, you distribute it, often via removable media or network share, to the servers you're deploying. This approach ensures consistency, saves time, and reduces manual errors during large-scale or repeat deployments. Now, we move on to a powerful security concept, just enough administration, or JEA. JEA is all about giving users only the permission they need to do their jobs, nothing more. This approach helps reduce the risk of accidental or malicious changes and supports compliance requirements. Just enough administration brings role-based access control, RBAC, to Windows PowerShell remoting. With JEA, you configure special endpoints that allow authorized user to run only specific CMDlets, scripts, or commands, nothing else. This means you can grant someone the ability to restart services or manage DNS without giving them full admin rights. JEA is ideal for well-defined, repeatable tasks, but not for open-ended troubleshooting. It only works with PowerShell sessions on Windows Server 2016 or later, and Windows 10 or later. Role capability files are at the heart of JEA. These files specify exactly what a user can do in a JEA session. For example, you might create a role capability file that allows restarting services but nothing else. You can even restrict CMDlets to certain parameters or values, giving you fine-grained control. This approach ensures users have just enough access to perform their tasks, no more, no less. To make JEA work, you need a session configuration file. This file registers the JEA endpoint and controls who can access the endpoint, what roles are assigned to each user or group, whether a virtual account is used for running commands. You can also set options like session type, transcript directory for auditing, and which identity is used for virtual accounts. By carefully configuring these settings, you ensure that only authorized users can access the JEA endpoint and that their actions are properly tracked. JEA endpoints are registered on the machine using the Register PS Session Configuration CMDlet. To use JEA across multiple machines, you can deploy configurations using Desired State Configuration DSC, ensuring consistency and scalability. Role capability files must be placed in the correct module folder, and you must define at least one role for the endpoint. This setup allows you to tightly control what users can do in a PowerShell session, both locally and remotely. To use JEA interactively, you need the remote computer's name, the JEA endpoint name, an account with access to the endpoint. For implicit remoting, create a session with new PS session, import it, and use the prefix commands. This approach lets you manage resources securely, ensuring users can only perform approved actions. JEA also supports programmatic access, just like other PowerShell endpoints. If you're managing Hyper-V environments, PowerShell Direct allows you to connect to VMs from the host, even if the network isn't configured. For VM management, create dedicated JEA user accounts for Hyper-V administrators and control their ability to sign in locally. Now, it's time for us to get practical experience with Lab 3. In this lab scenario, you are an administrator at Contoso Limited. The company wants to deploy several new servers using Server Core and manage them remotely with Windows Admin Center. In this lab, we will manage Windows servers. First, let's install Windows Admin Center from PowerShell. So first, let's download the Windows Admin Center installation package locally. And then we will use this PowerShell command to get the installation package installed. All right, so the installation is complete. First, we need to sign in Windows Admin Center with our domain account. Okay, so at the very first sign in, if you click Review and Complete, you probably will see that extensions is not ready. Because this is our very first sign in, we need to download or update the existing extensions. So in this scenario, what you can do is you can simply relaunch the Windows Admin Center. So you just click the Edge browser and launch the Windows Admin Center again. So this time, as you can see, the extensions button is available. All right. So we can click Review and Complete so that the extensions update can be executed simultaneously. All right. So first, let's add the remote server into Windows Admin Center. So let's close this extension updating pop-up window. And let's click Add. Then we will type in the server name for the remote server. So we will use Windows Admin Center to connect to the remote domain controller. Since this remote domain controller is a server core installation, so for the initial setup, we can take advantage of Windows Admin Center so that some of the tasks can be done via graphic user interface. All right? So here, we will add additional extensions for our remote management work. For the existing ones, the update is complete. So let's refresh the Windows Admin Center. So the new extension we will install is the DNS one. So let's click Install. And as you can see, the installation is complete. So we can use the DNS extension in Windows Admin Center for the management of DNS features. All right. This time, we will verify the remote administration. So we can select the domain controller. And you can see there are so many tools for us to use. You can also install new roles or features from Windows Admin Center. So this is the new DNS extension we just enabled. So here we can install the DNS PowerShell tools. So after the installation, we can manage the DNS service on the remote server. All right, we have already installed the DNS service on this domain controller. From Windows Admin Center, you can do the daily management work for the DNS server. All right, so you can create a new DNS record right from Windows Admin Center. This time, we will enable the remote desktop settings for the AZ-800. So we will allow remote connections to this computer and click Save. So after the setup, we can use RDP to do management remotely for this domain controller. There is the remote desktop client native support from Windows Admin Center. So what you can do is pretty easily. You select the domain name and the password and the keyboard layout and click Connect. So you can do the remote desktop right from Windows Admin Center. You can also use remote PowerShell to do the management from Windows Admin Center. So here, we will do the setup from local Windows PowerShell. So for the very first command, we will initiate a remote PowerShell session, which will be connected to the remote domain controller. So as indicated here, we are now doing remote management on the AZ-800 from the PowerShell command. And next, let's get the status of a Windows service. So the service is in a stopped status. So let's use start service command. And finally, you can use get service to get the current status of this app ID SVC service. This concludes our session. You've learned about post-installation configuration, just-enough administration, and advanced management tools for Windows Server. There are many ways to continue your learning journey. We encourage you to watch other videos in this course or search out your next favorite topic on Microsoft Learn at aka.ms/learn.